Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
And why their due process rights are being so flagrantly and horrifically violated.
You idiot.
Nation. Waldo Nation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's Friday. TGIF. And we're going to have some fun stories. Yes. Lots and lots of fun. In fact, we've got a couple of right-wing L's, big ones, to share with you, which is always fun. We also have Marjorie Greene contradicting herself. Is that really a big surprise? No, of course not. We also are going to talk about the reaction, or at least one good example of the reaction of the right wing when it comes to the death of Jordan Neely. So I'm going to get into that case as well. I haven't talked about it yet on today's show or during the week. There's been a lot going on. So we've got that, and we have embarrassing Tucker videos. Lots of fun. Tons and tons of fun. So yeah, we're going to get to it. Before we do, please like and share the stream. Very important. In order, to help the show, of course. So now, yeah, I noticed I'm reading the chat here. Saw me on Leftist Mafia last night. Yeah, I may have made a surprise appearance. It was a surprise to myself as well, but I was happy to be there. There was this debate between Tim Pool and Lance Surfs. I went in to, Leftist Mafia to do a little commentary on it and watch the debate live. It was a lot of fun. So it was a good debate, too. So anyway, with that, why don't we dive into the first story here? Kari Lake. Fun. Lucy Kari Lake has taken another big fat L. Her lawyers have just been sanctioned by the Supreme Court of Arizona for pushing more conspiracy theories. The particular conspiracy theory that 35,000 extra ballots were just randomly added to the voting rolls of Maricopa County. This is according to reporting from the Arizona Republic on Thursday. Attorneys for Governor Katie Hobbs and Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, both Democrats, sought sanctions against Lake for bringing what they called a frivolous and unfounded lawsuit. reported Stacey Barkinger. The order signed by Chief Justice Robert Brutinel declined to award Hobbs and Fontes their attorney fees. It's one of the things that they were asking for, but did order Lake's lawyers to pay $2,000 to the court clerk for repeatedly claiming that it was an undisputed fact that 35,563 ballots were added to the results of Maricopa County's third-party ballot processor, Runback Election Services. Hobbs, Fontes, and Maricopa County all disputed the claim. And so, look, when you are making extraordinary claims, obviously, you should provide evidence for said claims. I mean, that makes sense, right? What happened? Did they provide that evidence? No, they did not. And when they were asked, hey, you can't just make these claims without bringing in your proof, showing your proof, show your work, if you will. Well, that brings me back to math class. All right, well, if you don't have your proof, then you can't keep making these claims. And what did Kari Lake's lawyers do? They continued to make claims. Because, of course. Even after the Supreme Court itself said Lake did not show evidence to prove ballots were added, her attorneys, Brian Blem and Kurt Olson, made the claim again in an April court filing. Why would they do this? Because they're clowns. Obviously. They graduated, they must have graduated from the Sidney Powell School of Law Clownery or something. I mean, apparently the first rule of that clown college is, that we have to...
Just forget about the evidence.
Forget about the evidence. What evidence? We don't need no evidence. We're just going to make unfounded claims in court and then say, trust me, bro. No, that's going to get you sanctioned. That's what's going to happen. That's how courts work. You have to provide evidence. You, as the claimant, have to bring evidence to the court. Now, the Arizona Supreme Court order reads this, quote, sometimes campaigns and their attendant hyperbole spill over into legal challenges. Sure, but once a contest enters the judicial arena, rules of attorney ethics apply. Yes. That's a nice way of saying, bring the goods. You are making these claims, bring them so that you may put them forward. If you have evidence of stolen elections, obviously, we would like to see that. I believe in the democratic process. You've had plenty of chances in order to show the evidence that you purport to have. And if you do not have the evidence, then you should not be making these claims. And by the way, evidence provided also has to be tested and examined thoroughly by independent experts. That did not happen. So either they did not believe in the strength of their purported evidence because they would present such evidence, or it didn't exist. And they were hoping, what? That someone else would find them the evidence that they were looking for? Well, that's not how that works. If you have evidence, you have to bring it forward. And if you don't, then you don't have a case. Simple as that. And the case ends. So they can't bring evidence that they don't have. And that's why they continue to lose over and over and over again. Okay. Moving on. Let's go to Marjorie Greene.
Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police.
Exactly. Is President Joe Biden a criminal mastermind? Well, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, the answer is yes.
But the true crimes are linked to Joe Biden himself, and he is the mastermind of the Biden criminal enterprise. This is an international operation that has guided and steered the policy of the United States of America.
Criminal criminal mastermind, the Biden criminal enterprise. Who was what? Directing tax money towards this hotel chain during trips. Oh wait, that was somebody else. What about was Joe Biden's daughter getting special deals with meetings with the Chinese president? Oh right, damn, that was somebody else. Okay. Oh, I know. His son worked in the Middle East in the White House to do a blockade of Qatar weeks after a deal to finance 666 Fifth Avenue. Oh, shit. Damn it. Not Biden again. Weird. What? Who? Okay. Under which president did that happen? Oh, right. The Trump administration. Oops. Now, look, aside from this being pretty ridiculous, to come and claim evidence that Biden has personally enriched himself during his presidency and vice presidency, let's be honest, calling him a mastermind, a criminal mastermind, doesn't make any sense. Especially when it directly contradicts something that Marjorie Greene herself has said previously.
For 4 years, our country had a real leader that led America and the entire world to peace through strength. But now we have a mentally incompetent, feckless, dementia-ridden piece of crap, to quote Kathy McCollum.
Wait a minute. Is the president a mastermind, a criminal mastermind, or is he senile? You can't have both at one time. You understand that, right? I mean, in order to be a mastermind, you have to have a mind. Marjorie Greene, do you understand that at all? Does she get it? I mean, it's pretty mutually exclusive. It doesn't really make any sense. It's not very logical, but you don't have to make sense when you're Marjorie Taylor Greene. You don't have to be logically consistent. That's not a requirement for someone like Greene, who is a sitting congresswoman. So you think that maybe it should be a requirement, but no. Now, is there questions? Are there legitimate concerns for Joe Biden's age? Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair question, right? Now, at the moment, he seems healthy and, physically and there mentally. But, it could, of course, change. But it could, of course, change for anybody who's 80 plus years old. All right. And look, should that affect Biden's path to renomination? Look, as much as I would prefer a leftist presidential candidate, I know that I'm not going to get that. That's my personal preference. So what I plan on doing is I'm going to vote as far left as I can during the primaries. But when it comes to Biden, who's very most likely going to win the nomination, I'll vote for him in the general in order to keep out the fash. That's what you got to do. And to keep out alleged criminals like Donald Trump, who are currently in investigation for about 34 felony charges currently and possibly more coming. So, when it comes to criminal masterminds, I still really wouldn't call Trump a mastermind, but certainly seems to be, at this point, a criminal. Okay. You're a voting third party in the general. I'm not going to vote shame. I'm not going to tell you who to vote. You're an adult. I'm just saying what I'm going to do. Moving on. A member of Sean Hannity's live audience cheered on the death of a New York City homeless person on a subway.
Take a look at your screen. After making violent threats, acting erratically, a mentally ill, homeless guy with a long history of violent crime was, well, subdued by a bystander, a 24-year-old Marine vet. Now, the homeless man, his name is Jordan Neely.
So, wait a minute. Do you hear that? It's like a whooping woo. If it's such a tragedy, then how come people that are watching you seem to be pretty giddy about it? At least that person is. Well, it's because that particular person, and I'm not speaking for all Hannity viewers, but, I mean, apparently it seems like they're okay with killing a homeless black man who's having a mental health episode. I mean, they're fine with the end result being the fact that he is dead, and have been coming up with different ways to justify it. So, of course, some of the justification that I've seen from people, for example, on social media, is, well, he was a very dangerous person. Obviously, he was threatening people, he was being loud, he was being disruptive. He has a criminal record. Do you know that? Yeah, he does. Does that mean that he was that he had earned being killed? No. According to one eyewitness, by the way, who posted a video of the altercation on his Facebook page, Neely had allegedly yelled that he did not have food or something to drink. So no food or water, saying that he was ready to die and that he didn't care about facing life in prison. So now I look at that, and considering how he's an unhoused person, having mental health difficulties, if you have no home, if you have no food, you have no water, I don't know, prison's going to look pretty good to you. 3 hots and a cot, which is more than what apparently he had, and maybe some mental health care. And so, to me, that makes me think of how unbelievably desperate you would have to be to rather have your freedom being lost, to losing your individual freedom to be out and about in the world, having that be preferable to living in your current situation. So, I don't know, when I see this story, I see, empathy. I have empathy. I see situations like this happening as a failure of society, a failure of, taking care of people who are obviously mentally unwell and are having serious issues. Now, was he a danger, though? Was he harming people? Was the intervention justified? Well, according to that same witness who told the New York Post, Neely didn't attack anyone in the car. So he wasn't attacking anyone. He wasn't a danger. The most aggressive, according to the witness, was taking off his jacket and throwing it to the ground. So there was no need to physically jump to the defense of subway riders because there wasn't anyone who was in danger from Neely that day. I mean, that's a pretty clear case, right? Now, Hannity went on to say and criticize Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who had, come out to defend Neely and call this a murder. So now Hannity said, quote, "This man was not the innocent street performer that AOC and her friends want you to believe." So look, this is what they do, right? So something like this happens. Someone dies, okay, needlessly. And the response is, well, they're no angel. They had it coming, essentially. Well, now, wait a minute. Just the fact that Neely had been arrested multiple times, over 40 times. So, yes, he had some run-ins with the law. Does that mean it's justified to murder him? To kill him? No. And by the way, the 24-year-old Marine who choked him to death has been identified as Daniel Penny. And whether he meant to or not, the result is Neely is dead. And if we live in a just society with laws, well, there has to be some sort of consequences for that. Again, Neely was not attacking him, wasn't attacking anyone else. So does it really qualify as a self-defense case? It is a case where, again, a chokehold was employed, leading to the death of the black man having a mental health episode. In this case, here, Neely is the victim. his criminal record doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Now, speaking of that record, a New York City police spokesperson told Newsweek that Neely's record had 42 prior arrests, dating between 2013 and 2021. They include 4 for alleged assault, while others involved accusations of transit fraud and criminal trespass. Okay. So now the alleged assaults, he was arrested and charged for them. So, as he should have been. Okay. Again, no one here is arguing, and AOC certainly didn't argue that he was an angel or a perfect person. No, the guy had a lot of problems. He had a mental breakdown. Is that worth losing your life over? Having a bad day? Because everyone, I mean, you could look at it this way. Everybody is one bad day away in this country from being murdered. One bad mental health day. That's disastrous. So this is what we're angry about, okay? This is what the left is mad about. Jordan Neely did not deserve to die, but he did. And there should be an equal application of the law. In this case, there was not. Daniel Penny has not been charged. I mean, if anything, I would look at involuntary manslaughter. At least. But no, there hasn't been any sort of investigation, no arrest. And Daniel Penny has also been defended by police officers and media figures. New York politicians as well. That's not right. His actions, whether he meant it to or not, led to the death of a man who did not deserve to die, and there should be some justice. That's all people are asking for. That's all people are asking for. So now why isn't there justice? Why isn't there? Well, it turns out the media has a pretty big part to play. Not just Hannity, but also, again, mainstream outlets and local news organizations. There are consistent stories about crime. I mean, crime, if it bleeds, it leads, right? So there are constant crime stories. There are left-wing outlets that are also focused a lot on crime stories. And one of the consistent refrains that we see is how New York City is a crime-infested hellhole. Well, it turns out that's not really accurate. But if you were watching the news and not lived there, you wouldn't actually know it. So let's go through some of the data. During the pandemic in 2020, the murder rate in New York City jumped. It jumped by 47%. Now, that was a huge, huge headline. Why? Because, well, obviously, that's a gigantic jump than it was. But it turns out that murders, even at this incredibly high point, were 80% lower than their peak in the 1990s. And since 2020, the murder rate in New York City has decreased way back down. By the end of 2022, according to data, city homicides have fallen to their lowest levels since the onset of the pandemic. Now, other crimes did go up in New York City, and no one here is going to deny the data. There's been a surge of robberies and burglaries, which contributed to about 22% rise in overall crime since the previous year. That said, is New York City one of the most dangerous cities in the country? No, it's actually one of the most safest cities in the country. New York City's murder rate has been consistently at or below the national average. Shootings are down 23% this year. The per capita violent crime rate in New York City is also lower than in many smaller towns in the South. And New York City is a gigantic city. Now, it's not to say, again, crime doesn't happen. But to paint New York City as a crime-infested wasteland is just not accurate. It's just not accurate. Now, when you blow crime out of proportion with panicky news reports, you get situations where people feel like, individuals, citizens, feel like they have to take the law into their own hands. Kind of like this situation. And it also, by the way, fuels negative stereotypes against the unhoused or people dealing with mental illness, addiction. A lot of times those things go hand in hand. Now, I'm not saying that in some cases, unhoused people dealing with mental illness or addiction, I'm not saying they don't engage in criminal behavior sometimes. However, they're often more the victims of violent crime against them. According to a 2020 study published in The Lancet, unhoused people are at much higher risk of being the victims of crime and violence than people who are housed. Prevailing narratives about unhoused people being dangerous have also spurred, according to advocates, a climate of fear. So now, it's not good to downplay crime, obviously, but it's also very problematic when you overplay it. And I think that's what's going on here. The amount of crime that happens, and it does happen, is getting massively overblown in the media. And it creates this climate of fear, and it creates this climate of criminalization of especially unhoused people. Or, again, people dealing with mental health episodes and dealing with addiction. You really have to look at the numbers here. You have to look at the trends. And most importantly, when you look at the data, use it to come up with better solutions, humane solutions. At the end of the day, these people are human. They're human beings. And I believe every human should have stable housing, should have health care, should have mental health care, should have the basics needed to survive. I think those are all human rights. And unfortunately, we live in a country that does not provide those things. At one point in my life, I was homeless, and it truly put a strain on my mental state. And if you already have mental illness, it's even worse. A lot of people don't realize how much it can damage you physically and mentally. Exactly. Put yourself a mile in their shoes. Put yourself in their position. Try to understand what other people are going through before you cast aspersions on them. As a native New Yorker, I would walk miles in New York City, Manhattan, never an issue. It is no excuse for an execution, enough with violence against the homeless. Yeah, nobody's saying that it's an excuse for execution, except for people who are in the far right. He had no place to have this very private moment because he's unhoused. You have to conduct your most private moments in public. That is a huge strain. That's another good point. Empathy and sympathy is a foreign concept anymore. Yeah, I know. Make America have empathy again. That's my whole thing. There's no reason that we can't help people. So he was murdered for acting unpredictably because of mental illness. Mental illness are 25% of deaths by a cop. Seldom necessary, and the cops escalate the situation by approaching aggressively and scaring people with mental illness. Yeah, we've seen that. All right. Anyway, let's move on. We got a couple more stories and plenty of time, so surprisingly, it's a relaxed Friday. Okay. Fresh off her latest failed lawsuit, right-wing weirdo Laura Loomer is now suing her lawyer. So let me give you the details. There's some lore surrounding this. Back in 2018, Laura Loomer fell for a prank. So this prank suggested that the Council on American Islamic Relations had conspired to kick her off Twitter. So imagine being that much of a snowflake to take being booted off Twitter for being anti-Islamic or Islamophobic and saying, you know, I'm gonna sue I'm going to sue not Twitter. I'm going to sue the people who I think got me kicked off Twitter. Okay. Now, the following year, she did sue the Council for American Islamic Relations. And this is after a group posing as Twitter employees told her that the advocacy group lobbied to get her banned from the site. The organization said, actually, we didn't do that. We didn't conspire to get her kicked off the site. Your own Islamophobia did that. We didn't have to get involved. And by the way, we have evidence that it was someone else. And yet, Laura Loomer persisted. Because, of course. Even after Bernard Media, the group behind this prank, admitted, hey, we were just messing with you. It actually wasn't Care at all. It was us. We did it. She's like, no, I'm going to sue him anyway. And, of course, she lost. She lost.
You idiot!
What do you think? What did you think was going to happen? Stupid. What did you think was going to happen? As a result of her losing, she was ordered to pay legal fees to the organization and its Florida chapter. A lot of money, by the way, that she ended up having to pay. But it gets better. It gets better. You see, after winning a very stupid prize from playing a very stupid game, Laura Loomer then triples down on stupid. On Tuesday's filing, Loomer's attorney, Larry Klayman, decided to accuse her previous attorney, Ron Coleman, of malpractice and requested a delay in the case while Loomer's new legal team takes action against her old legal team. So now, delay in the case. Basically, she's trying to get out of paying Care for suing them and losing. So now, again, that was a lawsuit that was not successful. She has to pay their legal fees. She didn't want to pay their legal fees. And so now her lawyer is now suing her old lawyer for botching a case that had no merit, that she couldn't have possibly won. No lawyer could have won that because it wasn't true. No, stupid games, stupid prizes. Now, Coleman spoke to the Daily Beast about this and said, Laura filed a lawsuit that she very much wanted to file. I think it was a difficult claim, and I think it was, frankly, wrongly decided. She had a meritorious claim, but she's not happy with how it worked out. Not happy at all. Or you could also say,
Disappointed!
Very, very disappointed. Now, reached out for comment. Klayman declined to comment on the filing, because of course, but had fun things to say. You're going to love this. Quote, I'm not commenting on that, and I'm just putting you on notice that your disgusting leftist hack paper will be sued if you defame Loomer or me. You can quote me on that. Goodbye, and you will be sued personally.
Beta male.
Wow. Everything about this is funny. Super funny. But it gets better. According to the Daily Beast, the judge in the case appears unconvinced by Loomer's efforts to delay the case, while she accuses her previous lawyer, Coleman, of malpractice. In a Wednesday order, the judge stated that Loomer's malpractice allegations against their counsel are irrelevant to her legal obligations to Care, and says that if Loomer's team continues to drag its feet past the date of May 15th, they will need to explain why the judge shouldn't impose a civil contempt charge. Please do. But I mean, Laura, obviously the solution here is to continue to drag your feet and fight. I mean, don't stop. Don't stop. Keep fighting it, Laura. You're doing great. You're nailing it. Nailing it. Wow. Well done. Well done. Oh, okay. Fun. I'm just pressing random buttons here.
There's insanity in the control room.
Okay. Yeah, Laura couldn't even win in Florida with her nonsense, right? It appears that Fox News is begging Media Matters to stop putting out embarrassing videos of Tucker Carlson. Hilarious. Now, lawyers for Rupert Murdoch's Fox Corporation recently sent a letter to the media watchdog demanding that it stop putting out these very embarrassing behind-the-scenes videos of the now unemployed primetime host, former primetime host. I want to show you some of the funny videos, the leaked videos that they've been putting out. Take a look.
I don't want to be a slave to Fox Nation, which I don't think that many people watch anyway. But nobody's going to watch it on Fox Nation. Nobody watches Fox Nation because the site sucks. So I'd really like to just dump the whole thing on YouTube. I'm just frustrated with it's hard to use that site. I don't know why they're not fixing it. It's driving me insane. And they're like making like Lifetime movies, but they don't work on the infrastructure of the site. Like what? It's crazy, and it drives me crazy because it's like we're doing all this extra work and no one can find it. To the ladies' room and powder their noses. Is there actually nose powdering going on?
Sometimes.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. Do pillow fights ever break out? You don't have to.
Not in the bathroom.
Okay, not in the bathroom. Okay, that'd be more a dorm activity. Okay. Holy shit! 10 hours. That slimy little motherfucker sitting across from me. Oh, you're the best. And I wasn't talking about you. It's just the opposite. The amount, it was so unhealthy, the hate. Thank you, Teresa. The hate that I felt for that guy. I mean, thank you, Todd. How could you not? I never feel that way, because I don't put myself, I don't want to feel that way. I think it's wrong. It's bad. It's totally bad for you to feel that way. But that guy, I mean, he triggered the shit out of me.
Why couldn't Fox News, I don't understand, like, with all the money that they have, why couldn't Fox News, like, get an air conditioner for, like, Tucker's studio? Like, he's all, like, sweaty. He's like, oh, my God. Oh, those little motherfuckers. No, he was talking about, by the way, speaking to, in a deposition to a lawyer from Dominion. So, the hate that he felt for them. And very interesting. He was triggered. Very, very triggered. Which is great. Other videos, by the way, that were released were Tucker Carlson and Piers Morgan talking about their sexual techniques, which I did not want to show you.
Sexual anarchy.
I'm going to pass on that one. Okay.
Testicles.
No.
Tighten up my meat.
No. Let's not. Okay. But yeah, the weirdo stuff about, oh, do you have pillow fights in the bathroom? That's kind of funny. Weird. So now let's get to Fox News' letter, which is always fun. Here's what it said. The unaired footage is Fox confidential intellectual property. Fox did not consent to its distribution or publication. Oh, it didn't, huh?
Well, I do not consent.
Sad day for you. Sad day for you, sir. They also said that this proprietary material was given to you without Fox's authorization. How dare you put out these videos that are very embarrassing about Tucker Carlson? Fox demands that Media Matters cease and desist from distribution, publication, and misuse of Fox's misappropriated proprietary footage, which you are now on notice was unlawfully obtained. Oops. No, what a shame. I guess this is out there. Once it's out on the internet, you can't really get rid of it. So, what a shame. What a shame. Hey, that's fair use, bitch. Now, in a statement to the Daily Beast, Media Matters CEO Angelo Caruso said it was absurd for Fox to suggest that these leaked materials are off limits for reporters. Reporting on newsworthy leaked materials is a cornerstone of journalism. For Fox to argue otherwise is absurd and further dispels any pretense that they're a news organization. Well, of course they're not a news organization. They never were a news organization. They're a propaganda outlet meant to help the Republican Party. And look, they admitted the different, texts between all these different hosts admitted that they didn't care about telling the truth. They knew the truth about the election, and they decided to spread falsehoods. Platform people like Sidney Powell.
In Venezuela.
And they got busted for it. And they paid $787.5 million as a result of those lies. So, to call them journalists at Fox News, hilarious. By the way, there were also texts that came out between Tucker Carlson and Bret Baier. Bret Baier, considered one of the straight news hosts, turns out he was more concerned about lying to the audience as well and maintaining, the brand so they continue to get the viewership and not lose viewers to Newsmax or OANN because that would lose them money. And they wouldn't like that because they're a giant corporation. So, let me continue, by the way, with Angelo Caruso and his quote. He says, "Perhaps if I tell them that the footage came from a combination of WikiLeaks and Hunter Biden's laptop, it will alleviate their concerns." So, look, that's great because there is this obsession with airing the private materials from Hunter Biden's laptop everywhere. New York Post, online like right-wing websites showing these materials that were, of course, quite private and quite salacious for a reason. So, yeah. It's so good, though. Fox News, just like Tucker Carlson was, pretty triggered. And it's so triggered that it's absolutely hilarious. This is the stuff that they did not want to come out during the trial, among other things. Some of the text, for example, with Tucker Carlson admitting that he enjoyed watching 3 MAGA guys beat up an Antifa kid and saying that he relished it, that he couldn't wait, that he tasted the blood, had a bloodlust about it. And thinking, oh man, maybe that's not who I want to be. But then going out and saying the same kind of horrible crap that he said spewed on a nightly basis. But look, it's that kind of stuff. These videos of him very, very clearly trashing Fox Nation is his own network. I mean, it's so good. And all of it definitely contributed to his firing. I don't think you can point to just one single instance, but a collection of very embarrassing, very controversial things that he has said internally that contributed to this firing. And the fact that they are triggered about this and so upset makes this entire thing all that much sweeter. So Fox is basically saying it's unfair when they're in the news. Sad. Yes, sad baby. of course. Whole lot of snowflakes at Fox News. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. I'm actually out of stories today, so I'm going to wrap up kind of early. I know, like, that almost never happens, but it's a Friday. It is what it is. Okay, so I'm going to read some super chats, member comments here. Let's see. Gabby Mathis, thank you for the gifted membership. Jonathan Leiter, thank you for the gifted membership. Emergency Remedial Truth member says 7 months now. Keep winding back up, winding up back here. I know, right? Crazy how that keeps happening. Januzzi says, new to your content, but it's good. Keep it up. Well, thank you. Thank you. Wondering, did you find it from the Leftist Mafia stream or anything like that? Just kind of curious because I did notice a sub bump after I was on it yesterday. So, Gabby Mathis, thank you for the very, very kind super chat. Says, my heart is broken for Jordan Neely and everyone killed. Please love all people and spread love, not hate. Yes. Look, like for the most fervent MAGA guys, I don't hate them. I feel bad for them. I really do. Like, when you have that much hate in your own heart towards other people who are different, trans people, immigrants, etc., like, it makes me feel bad for you because what is your life? What is your life spent, like, hating people you don't know? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Jules, thank you for the member comment. Says, congrats on your debut on Leftist Mafia last night. It's not actually an official appearance, too. So it was just like a last minute, like, hey, I'm going to jump in. But I was talking with Mike and Matt yesterday, and there will be a proper appearance. So, I'm going to look forward to that. And also, getting Matt Bender on the show and going on his show as well. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to all of that. I'm a speedrunner. Yeah, it's just today is one of those things where I've been having a lot of stuff to do. We just adopted 2 cats, so we're getting them used to the house, and there's all sorts of other crap going on. So, just one of those things. So an early end for the day. Tim Pool is an idiot. I don't think he's a not smart person. I think he's a disingenuous person. I think he's a bad faith actor. Have Lance on. He spins my jets. Again, I'd actually have to get him here. Let's see. Just reading a couple of comments here. Let's go to our Twitch community. Let's see. Did you do a low percentage run on the weekend? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Lance is a guest. Yeah, I mean, I've had him do the show before, but it's very difficult to actually get somebody who streams like 4 hours a day to then come over to yours. But I'll ask. Saying people should privately own nuclear weapons is very dumb. Yeah, it is dumb, but it's what people want to hear. And I think, again, Tim Pool is a businessman. Tim Pool is someone who will platform outrageous, ridiculous people, white nationalists, white supremacists, and have a rotating host filled with them because he knows it's what the audience wants. He also knows, like, oh, no, I am a centrist. That's why I'm a centrist liberal, but I just happen to agree with, massively right-wing takes. No, that means you're not a centrist liberal or libertarian or anything like that. No, you're a right-winger. I mean, you believe in right-wing things, or you say you believe in right-wing things, agree with right-wing positions. But his whole idea is, well, it's not the fact that I'm right-wing, it's the left. Went too far left. That's not a good argument. That's not a good argument at all. It's a disastrous argument. Tim Pool is no centrist. Yeah, I know. He just claims to be. Just claims to be. Is anybody still buying the Tim Pool I'm a centrist lie? Unfortunately, yes. There are a lot of people that continue to buy into that. And that's why I do think, because I know there's a lot of pushback for, people like Lance, Vosh, going on, Tim Pool's show, Bender. Why would you do that? I mean, why would you go on their shows? To expose him to this audience. Like, I think that's kind of the point. You mean I missed your appearance on Leftist Mafia? You must have come in after I left. Yeah, it was pretty late. It was about 10 o'clock. It was like after 10 and went until like 11:30. Something like that, but yeah. It was fun. It was fun. Okay. So, let's see. That's all I got for super chats, comments. Again, one last check over here on Twitch. They already have an audience, so it's okay for lefties to go on there. They have a really big audience, unfortunately. So they're actually platforming you as opposed to platforming them. And maybe some of those arguments, when they hear a different perspective, might sway some people. And maybe not all of them, or maybe very, very, very few of them. But if you can get a couple of seeds of doubt sown into their head about their, some of the stuff that they hear on Tim Pool's show that isn't true, they'll be like, oh, huh, what else might he be wrong about? Because look, I know some of you might not believe it, but there are people that, start out on the right wing and then realize, oh, wait, there's something that's not right about this. Maybe this ideology is wrong after all. And so you do see people that go from the right wing to left, to even very left. So anyway, Tim is excellent example of people riding in the fence and not wanting to get involved. Okay. Anyway, gonna head out. Thank you. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. And we're gonna head out. We'll see you back on Monday. Have a great weekend. Love you all, and remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you back here on Monday.
I will eat your ass.
Please clap.
They want to make you drink Starbucks every day from now until forever.
Amazing.
Internet. Ciao.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
Jewish space lasers.
Stupid.